Sorry about that. Alright. Okay. Sorry about that. I have to check the microphone. It's the headset. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Dragon King Mark here, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong. Last we left off, we explored the Bang Tang, talked with everybody here, checked on Kui to get any more intel, and we discovered that, well, Crate is in fact working with Ares macro technology. Now comes the big part of why. But before we do that, we gotta go talk to the crew. Possibly for the final time. Well, everything seems to be more or less in one piece. Did you and Kui find anything out? More to the point, do you know who we're fighting yet? Yeah, we know who we're up against. Crate and her people are being funded by Ares. That's not what I was hoping to hear. Ares is serious business. So what's next? We can't exactly take the fight to them. We aren't equipped for that. We'll try to bring the executive council into it. They might be able to help. Somehow I doubt that it'll be that easy, my friend. These things seldom are. But perhaps... Your PDA buzzes, cutting him off. Kui. Alright, let's answer it. Kui's face flickers onto the PDA's view screen. She looks haggard, even more so than before. The call was a bust, Sang-Jean. I still got a few execs willing to go to bat for me, but the rest have already written us off as a failure. Nobody's gonna risk antagonizing Ares on my say-so. We're gonna need a hell of a lot more than one misfiled email if we're gonna convince them to move on this. I guess we're heading to Tai Po. Yeah, looks that way. She lets out a long sigh. Look, Sang-Jean, I told you that you and your team would be well compensated for helping me, but I never really specified exactly what your reward would be. I think that you should know. You got my attention. We'll start with the bad news. I can't put a monetary value on what your team will receive. Truth be told, I'm gonna have to wrestle with corporate to get them much of anything. A lot of the cost of renting out the Bang Tang came out of what had been set aside for your reward. Excuse me, what? You'll still get paid, I promise you that. It just won't be enough to retire on. Nothing I can do about it. That's just the way it has to be. Goblet crosses her arms over her chest, a disgusted look on her face. Yeah, I'm sure it is. We never should have trusted... Kui's voice cuts in, talking over her. As for you, Sang-Jean, you're a different story. For you, I've got something better than money. This had better be good. It is. I can get your sin restored. Duncan's too. I can give you your old lives back. Holy dreck. That's right. Imagine the doors that'll open for you. You can return to Seattle, pretend that none of this ever happened. Hell, you can do whatever you want, and you can do it completely above board. What I'm offering you is the freedom to make your own choices again. The same freedom that Cray and Josephine Sang and Conley Cheng took away from you. Anyway, I just wanted you to know what's on the line before we headed out to Tai Po. She rubs her eyes, stretches. I'm gonna go get my kit ready. I'd recommend that you do the same. Not just yet. I still want to explore the Bang Tang a bit. She frowns. Okay, Sang-Jean, do whatever you need to do. It'll give me a chance to close my eyes for a few minutes, if nothing else. When you're finished, go to Jomo. He'll sneak us onto Tai Po, and we can finish this. She begins to look away, then seems to think better of it. The camera refocuses on her face. Oh, and, Sang-Jean, your boss's rock, that Kong that you took from Eddie Pang, got broken in the move. I found that about 50 pieces when we got here. It's in the waste bucket under my desk if you still want it, but I can't imagine it's worth much anymore. Sorry about that. The video feed crackles and dies. Kui's face winks off your PDA and the display goes dark. Well, this presents us with something of a conundrum, my friend. He takes a drag on his cigarette and slowly releases the smoke through his nostrils. Cochet paws to the ground. If this payment goes through, your Shadowrunning days with this team are over. With a sin, you will be a liability. You could perhaps remain in Haoi, but you'd need to find a different line of work. A difficult decision. I'll put some thought into it. See that you do. For now, we have a job to prepare for. Kindly Chang wishes us to complete this task, and so we will, payday or not, or no. This conspiracy could pose a threat to the Yellow Lotus, and we cannot say with certainty whether it does or not until we enter that warehouse in Taipo. You're right. Get ready. We got a secure facility to raid. And this is where the big stretch comes in. We got a choice. Get back our sins, or remain sinless in Shadowrun. This is where the game's about to get interesting. Looking for Milk Run. Experienced Decker and a fresh-faced team of runners looking for basic runs. Subcontract your dullest jobs to us. Preferred. No jobs involving experimental stims, secret chem labs, escapes on mopeds, the walled city, underwater pipes, or ferrets. Just to be on the safe side. Message me. SJ. Wouldn't taking on your dullest jobs make this milk run a bit too, milky? For this team, no. Just this once, and I know that this sounds crazy, so hear me out. I want to go on a run where half the team doesn't get riddled with bullets, or dissolved in acid, or fed into a giant meat grinder. Call me crazy, but I think it'd be a nice change of pace. Hey SJ, I got a mission that I could probably throw your way. It requires some discreet sewer dredging below a night errant facility. Security should be lax, and the stories about waking crocodiles down there are probably just urban legends. You guys want in? Yes, perfect! GC, I don't think that our partnership is going to work out. Oof. Where's Pinky Swear? Hello, Shadows. I'm trying to locate Pinky Swear. Last we heard, our paranoid friend was freaking out about ants, but it's been quite some time since we spoke. Truth be told, I'm getting generally worried. Any tips welcome? Yeah, about that haiku stalking. You got some? Spit it out. Well, it wasn't Jivebot or Codex, or whatever the Matrix rumor mill seems to believe. Jackie, as in with a J, I have a sinking feeling that I know what you're about to tell me. Yeah, it was me. After Pinky and I split up, Pinky never changed the door codes. When I figured that out, I thought I'd just, play our harmless prank. You got a funny definition of harmless. She's probably in the middle of a psychotic break, running through the hills to escape a bunch of imaginary poetry ants. Well, if she's gone, we could raid her apartment. She's got loads of great gear, and she was probably too busy panicking to change the codes. Again. Fuck it, count me in. Dang. That's messed up. And with that, we have nothing else for the computer. But before we do anything, we gotta go and get that Kong. She said it was in the waste bin. We just spoke to Kui. Wait, is it the waste bin in the Defiance? Did I just spend like 5 minutes just not doing anything? So yeah, this week, crazy. Finally started my medical treatment for ADHD. Kinda still getting used to it. Had to look after AJ. Well, more like he stayed over for Saturday and, well, you know how it is with him. Stash. Right. Dang. Wait. I just remember we had this. I completely forgot we actually have that now. Now we got a minigun. Hehe. Duncan, let's chat. When you enter the room, you find Duncan's back to you, his head leaned up against the wall. Around him are a few new dents. Seems he's been venting. He hears you enter and turns around, a small red spot still on his forehead from where it was resting, and a scowl so large it practically covers the entire bottom of his face. Well, that was a clusterfuck. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised, though. It always seems to turn out this way, doesn't it? Someone stabs us in the back. Guess that's just a fact of life in the shadows. We always seem to get by. Get by is a generous way of putting it. We're treated like trash. We get no respect. It blows. Back at the Barrens, I made a life for myself. I was a cop. It feels like a punch in the gut when I'm reminded of how far I've fallen from that. Pull yourself together. We're still here and we're still alive, and that's all that matters. Duncan's barrel chest heaves and he grinds his teeth together. The sound of his tusks rocking forward and back is like sandpaper on pavement. A slow, tired laugh escapes his lips. You're starting to sound like the old man, you know that? That little speech was vintage Raymond Black. As much as I hated his pep talks, they always seemed to help. What do you think about that last run? Duncan grits his teeth at the question. Lamb. That fucking traitor. For all the senior inspectors planning at big promises, this task force ended up getting boned just as badly as we usually do by our clients. Leaking information, switching sides, raising the stakes. I know that as runners it's us versus everyone else, but it's at times like these when I really feel it. He opens and closes his hands as if trying to work all the tension out of them. At least Kui's still with us. He scoffs. Kui. Best of luck to her. We'll play our part in this game of hers. Let's hope that she still knows what the fuck she's doing. Thanks for listening, Shen. We're balls deep in this now. No way out. I'm ready to change the subject. How about you? Gotta run. Later. Well, looks like Duncan is Duncan. Figured. Isabel, you sense a change in the environment immediately upon entering the room. Seconds later, it hits you. It's quiet in here. The usual drone of beeps, hums, and fans is conspicuously absent. Isabel leans up against a steel table, picking what looks like glass off of a warped circuit board. Her profile is illuminated with a blue-green glow by the glowing screen beside her. She looks up at you with heavy eyes. She speaks, and her tone is grave. So, it all comes down to this. We knew that this was coming. What I find surprising is what's happening here. Why is it so quiet? Her hand pauses and a piece of glass falls from between her fingers. She hesitates, sets down the circuit board. Had to power everything down, just in case, well, in case something happens and I don't come back. Her eyes bore into the floor at her feet. Except for the octopus, that is. The octopus stays on. We'll be back, Isabel. We've lived through a hell of a lot worse. You shouldn't trivialize this mission, Sang-Jean. Every room could be our last, even the small ones. We're Shadowrunners. We've got to think cautiously, always. Well, if you will. The little Decker rolls her eyes at your comment, but the corner of her mouth lifts into a smile. Yeah, Sang-Jean. Okay, I can do that. What did you think about that last run? Isabel's eyes are cold when she looks at you. A bitterness creeps into her voice when she speaks. We saw it coming. No, we should have seen it coming. Hell, with our luck, it's a wonder that both Lamb and Kui didn't turn on us. Sure, we still have the company woman on our side, but things just got a lot more complicated. Just for once, I wish we could be one step ahead of our enemies. She shakes her head and tosses her hands up in defeat. Oh well, nothing but old news now. Only thing that we can do is learn from it and move on. Any more questions? That's all for now. See ya. Hey viewer. The noodle machine. I think this might be the last time we see the noodle machine. And sorry about the low voice earlier. Mom is still asleep. Am I coming in alright? The headset microphone tends to be a bit wonky, so... yeah. You enter Gobbet's cabin to find her gulping something from a chipped plastic mug. As the mug's contents slosh and churn, a sharp antiseptic note stings your nostrils. She glances up from her drink and locks eyes with you. The pirates make this... I think it's like a kind of whiskey? She frowns down at the mug. I don't know what they make it from, but it tastes like salty turpentine. Why are you drinking it? Because I needed a drink and this stuff kicks like a mule. I mean, it's definitely swill, but it's powerful swill. You want some? Thanks, but no thanks. I prefer my turpentine without salt. She shrugs and tosses back the remaining liquor. A few seconds later, a fit of barking cough shakes her chest and her eyes begin to water. She rubs at them with her knuckles, gasping for air. Oh, that was a mistake. I'm dizzy. She grimaces, smacking her lips. My tongue feels like I dipped it in furniture wax and there are crickets chirping in my brain. Need me to get a medic? I'll be fine. Or I can eat anything, drink anything. It'll make me stronger. She shakes her head to clear it. Now, you weren't here to drink with me, so what do you want? I should be up for a little chit-chat before I keel over. What do you think of the Benteng? It's a tricked-out barge that doesn't go anywhere. That makes it a glorified raft. Think back to the last raft we spent a lot of time on, the sinking ship. Think of the shit that went down there. Remember the smell of the killing pit? The disease-ridden rat monsters that tried to eat us? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, well, then you already know the answer to your question. It's not that I don't appreciate what the pirates are doing for us. Hell, I kind of like some of them. They're a fun group. I just prefer to hang out on dry land is all. Her knees flex as she adjusts to a sudden sway of the deck, a rogue wave. After it passes, she puts her hands on her hips and focuses on you. And then, what about you, Seattle? How are you enjoying the pirate life? It's a temporary fix for a bad situation, and I'm at peace with that. Sounds like we're on the same page, more or less. Let's just try to make it as temporary a fix as possible, and I don't want to spend any more time out here than I have to. Anyway, let's talk about something else. Change the subject, surprised me. So what'd you think about the last run? Well, I wasn't there, so, no. She shrugs. I've got nothing. I gotta run. Later. Right, so the only person we gotta talk to left is Ractor for the mission. Still, if we go through with this mission, we'll basically be free. We'll basically be free to return home. We can get our sins. Welcome back. Was there something else that you needed? How are you enjoying life in the Benteng? He pauses for a moment, considering. Truthfully, I rather like it. She's a lovely old vessel and well suited to her role as a floating fortress. And you? How are you enjoying our new, if temporary, home? Well, she's well armed, I'll give her that. As long as she keeps the HKPF at bay, I'm happy to be here. The police wouldn't dare venture anywhere near this ship. What is our value compared to that of a patrol boat and the lives of a crew? He shakes his head. Too much to risk for too little gain. They will not come for us here. So what do you think about that last run? We have a lead, and we're one step closer to being done with this foolishness. These are positive things, I should think. Lamb's betrayal was aggravating, but not surprising. Only a fool will trust anyone on this task force. They all suckle from the corporate teat. Still, our hit on the Tiger's Den was ultimately positive, and now we've lashed out to a pirate ship, enjoying the swell of the waves and the smell of the salt in the air. A rather large improvement by anybody's standards. Now, do you have any other questions, or shall I return to my work? Gotta run. Later. And finally, Gaichu. Yeah, I apologize for not being able to stream yesterday, nephew, that sort of thing. So far, it looks like the meds are doing something good. That's good, at least. Gaichu is seated cross-legged on the floor of his cabin, his swords unsheathed in front of him. An array of tools rests nearby, and the air is thick with the scent of clove oil. The tools include a stack of small paper squares, several stones, and a tiny metal prick, and a high-tech vice grip of some sort. He raises his hand in greeting as you enter. Pardon me if I do not stand, St. John. Fine as these swords may be, they require as much maintenance as any other weapon. Burrs to be sanded out, dents to be reformed, etc. This old A here does the blades no favors. Please make yourself at home. What's the vice grip for? It is a diamond coating rebonder. It cannot replicate the die cote process that covers the blades, but it can patch spots where the diamond edge coating has worn away or become rough. The materials are rather expensive, as you may guess. Now, what may I do for you? Well, he's got nothing to say about the run, so I'll talk to him later. I'm excited for Ghosts of Yotei coming out, actually, since the PlayStation State of Play came out. I'm curious to know where it's gonna go. Okay, now we gotta figure out where the hell Jomo is. Although I think he's right here. Yep, here he is. But before we do, I want to check out these cannons. Triple Alpha. Right, I forgot to talk with him. A powerfully built woman stands by one of the huge guns, smoking a cigarette. She's carrying a cyber deck, and an assault rifle is slung alongside it. She has the wide-eyed alertness of someone who's either supernaturally hyper-aware or has a lot of headwear. Her stance is easy and relaxed. It's the posture of someone who's ready to fight or flee at a moment's notice, but doesn't expect that she'll have to. The woman nods her head at you, taking a drag of her cigarette. You must be St. John. Heard about that dust up at the Tiger's Den. Glad to see that you got out alive. Yeah, me too. You work with the Tomer and her crew? Nah, first time here. I'm just waiting for the rest of my crew to show up. The woman looks you up and down. You look exactly like I thought you would. Heard some stories about that business with Josephine Sang. You can call me Triple Alpha, by the way. Us old runners, we gotta stick together, you know? You stand by your crew, they stand by you, and you can't count on anyone else. She purses her lips, looking around with an annoyed expression. If my crew would even ever freaking get here, why am I always the first one onto the scene anyway? I wanna get out of the shadows and onto a beach. You look like you've seen a lot of action yourself. Alpha lets out a rough cackle. Man, you don't know the half of it. You tally up the runs I've been on, and I think I might have seen more stuff than even Fast Jack. I might not be as old as him, but I think that I take jobs a lot more regularly than he does. I've been to Los Angeles and Seattle, Hong Kong and Berlin, and everywhere in between. If it's a weapon, I've fired it. If there's a corporation, I've run both for and against it. The woman gestures languidly with her cigarette as she speaks. It's never dull, I'll tell you that. How big of a team do you have? We got a rigger, a mage, and an adept. I guess there's also our jack of all trades, too. She's not very good at anything, but she's got a lot of heat of heart. Totally unafraid to march alongside us, even if all she manages to plink away with that crappy pistol of hers. And then there's me. You can guess what I do. Alpha gestures to the cyber deck and the assault rifle slung across her back. Sounds like a solid crew. They're a good bunch. Highly skilled, quiet, and we get along well. Can't ask for more than that. You staying out of the shadows for good? Alpha shakes her head as she stares off into the distance. Nah, I don't think so. I've been running the shadows for my whole life. It's all I've ever done. I don't know how to do anything else. This is more of a vacation. A break, if you will. I figured we'd take a break, hit some beaches, take in the sights that are off on the beaten path, and come back when we're rested. You keep doing the same thing forever, you're bound to burn out. Alpha glances sidelong at you and gives you a slight grin. A low grin. I wouldn't mind a little time. A little bittersweet, I guess. Not sure how long. Not only do you have to track down the new stuff, you have to recuperate and all that. Pretty sure. I saw at beach there in the